Today, I'm going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite books, Consider Phlebas by my favorite author, Iain M. I love this book because it's an epic space opera with rich philosophical depth. Consider Phlebas focuses on the story of Horza, who is a mercenary hired by the Idirans to find a new and advanced technology by the culture and bring it back to the Idiran in order to tilt the tide of the war between the two races. We're going to be talking about the formidable societies of the culture and the Idirans, and the nature of the war between the two of them, and the moral implications of technology on society. First, let's talk about the culture. Imagine a society where all material needs are met, where brilliant AI minds oversee the health and well-being of billions. This is the culture. It's a post-scarcity society that embodies advanced technologies and ethical interventionism. The culture prides itself on freedom and individual autonomy, all managed by artificial intelligence that balances ethical and moral considerations in every decision. So the culture is like a symbiosis between organic and non-organic life, where AI uses its great processing power in order to maintain the balance and its great logic to maintain order as well. The culture is basically run by these machines called minds, which are highly advanced AIs, except they don't like to be called by AIs because they are so far advanced that they don't consider their intelligence to be artificial at all. Minds possess consciousness and are highly autonomous. They are capable of making extremely complex decisions with significant practical and moral implications. They oversee everything from the management of advanced space habitats, known as orbitals, to the control of vast interstellar ships. Unlike many portrayals of AI, minds are deeply moral and often engage in ethical reasoning. They can experience emotions and often engage in their own hobbies, interests, and activities. So in Consider Phlebas, the culture is at war with the Idirans. The Idirans are a tripedal warrior race driven by their fervent belief in the religious right to conquer the galaxy and expand their domination across space. Their society is structured around religious doctrines that sanctify their own existence while dismissing others. They view the culture's AI and interventionist stance as an existential threat, fueling a deep-seated animosity that leads to war. This war isn't just a conflict, it's the battle for the philosophical soul of the entire galaxy. It questions the ethical implications of AI versus organic governance, and the right of advanced civilizations to impose their will on others. The culture believes in equality, peace, and prosperity for all, and they believe they have a moral obligation to intervene with younger civilizations and influence them into their way of life. Whereas the Idirans believe in their own sanctity and in the way of the sword or the way of the warrior, and that they are divinely entitled to be the rulers of the entire galaxy. Eventually, in the history of these two cultures, they both become so powerful and advanced in the technology that they clash, and an inevitable war ensues. This war, spanning hundreds of years, influences both civilizations to improve and advance their technologies more rapidly than ever before, but unfortunately displaces many civilizations not related to the war at all. This book, however, doesn't follow this war in detail. It follows the story of Horza, a young shapeshifter from an almost extinct race who's been hired by the Idirans in order to steal a new mind that has been invented by the culture. The Idirans want to steal this mind because it has shown itself to be a highly advanced version, eons and eons beyond what the current minds of the civilization in this book are capable of. In the beginning of the book, you learn that the Idirans attacked the space station where the mind was kept, and the mind, even though it didn't have a spacecraft or a way to escape, somehow used its technology to teleport itself into the deep caves of a nearby planet, evading capture by the Idirans. This in itself is extremely concerning for the Idirans and is extremely perplexing for the culture themselves, showing that this mind is very significant in advancing their entire species. Because of this, both the culture and Idirans have put all their efforts into retrieving this mind at all costs. So Horza is a mercenary hired by the Idirans in order to find the mind and retrieve it. Through Horza, Banks explores the themes of what identity means in a universe where one can change their form at will. And this theme really resonates with our current conversations globally about self and authenticity in an ever-changing world. This book also talks extensively about the moral implications of technology, the morality of war, and the consequences of intervention. My favorite thing about this book, and my favorite thing about every culture book, is the culture. How Iain M slowly over 10 novels fleshes out this beautiful, idealistic world where the culture... I don't want to ruin anything for you. You just have to read it. Consider Phlebas is a bit of a read, sitting at roughly 470 pages, but it's worth every minute. It is the first book in the culture series if you look at chronological release, although the culture books don't follow any specific order. It is recommended that you read the books in order of release because Iain M. Banks's writing style does evolve over time. So do the complexity of the topics and the themes of the culture. So it's great to start with this because it kind of like dips your toe in the culture, really teases you because you're not a part of the culture in this book, which makes it interesting because you start with a bias against it, which I think is a really healthy way to think about it. Because most of the other books are quite biased towards the culture. And anyone who reads his books do become biased towards the culture themselves because they're amazing. Some people consider Player of Games, his second book in the series, a better introduction to the culture as it is a shorter book to read. It is within the perspective of the culture itself, and the concepts are a little less esoteric and more straightforward. However, I do believe that Consider Phlebas is a great way to start the series, as it adds that allure of mystery for the culture. In Consider Phlebas, Banks urges us to ponder deep philosophical questions that don't only concern his universe, but our own as well. If you read this book, not only will you be thoroughly entertained, your mind will be blown and your perception of reality will be completely shattered. For me, this book is a flat out 10 out of 10 all the way. Reading this book will help you grow as a human and will give you hope for our future that is inevitably going to be dominated by AI. Have you read this book? If so, let me know what you think in the comments, because I love it.